Ladies and gentlemen, this creator is on the come up in the UFC community, especially making UFC content and will defend any Nigerian fighter. Please welcome Kenny Okoye. I had to
Hey
throw that in
man,
there, bro. I had to. Listen,
you had to, bro. Like, I love my Nigerian fighters, bro. Shout out every Nigerian fighter on Misfits, on the professional scene, Israel and Kamaru. Y'all know that, bro.
dude, you know what I
Thanks
mean?
for
And
having me,
actually,
OJ.
that's perfect that you mentioned, Kamaru, Israel, right? Because they're both in the UFC. And that's what I want to ask is like, how did you get into the UFC? How did you get into the sport of UFC? What made you appeal to watching this?
That's a good question. Like, when I was a little bit younger, like I'm talking about like teenage years, 13, 12, I used to
Hmm.
always kind of know a little bit about UFC, but I'd only watch like the big main event fights. I knew about Silva. I knew about GSP, the John Jones. That's kind of all I knew
Yeah.
about though, like the top guys. It wasn't
Hmm.
until like 2018, 2019 when I started watching the cards from like top to bottom because I had some friends in school who were like interested in UFC. So, and then
Yeah.
from there, I just got a good understanding and I just love the sport. Like just the characters you see there, bro, the fighting styles, just fighting in general always interests me. I always liked fighting, which is weird. Or like I just liked being
Hmm.
a like I don't know. It was kind of weird. Growing up, I was like fighting was just fun to me. I was like, it just seems cool. So that
That's
sport
fire.
itself was just a perfect thing to just watch and like
That's
yeah,
fire.
grow.
No, you know what's funny? Like, because that's around the same time, swear to God. I actually only reason why I remember this date specifically is because
Mhm.
that's when like the fastest knockout happened. UFC 239. So
Yep.
I always remember July 6, 2019 because of
That's
that, because of
crazy.
literally Ben Askren. And
Yeah,
because,
Van Assen got
bro, so
destroyed.
like the house I was at, right? The people around me, all wrestling background. Swear to
Oh,
God.
wow.
And so and like I'm trying to figure out like what the fuck, like why is everyone so hyped about this Ben Askren guy? Because I've like never heard of
Mhm.
him. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, he's a wrestler. Like, he's supposed to be on the come up in the UFC. He also like that was when he got traded for Demetrius Johnson or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Questionable
So
trading it. Like, holy crap.
only one that was a one-sided trade, but that
Horrible
was when
trade.
that happened and shit. And so they were telling me like, yeah, like Ben Askren's about to beat this guy's ass. And I was like
Mhm.
making jokes. I'm like, bro, watch this guy get like knocked down in like 2 seconds and shit like that. I'm not
Little did
saying I
you know.
predicted this. I'm not saying I
Yeah.
predicted this. I was literally like, I didn't know. I never watched the fucking sport. Well, hold on, that's a lie. I watched like a couple events, but I didn't really get into it until this event.
I know exactly what you mean, Tristan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I'm like, dude, watch this guy get like knocked out in a couple seconds, just laughing and shit. And then fucking this guy gets knocked out in like 5 seconds. And I was
Destroyed.
like, bro, I swear to God, I'm not saying I predicted this, but like I
Low
was
key,
joking. I was
Mystic
just
J.
I was just joking and shit, bro. It was the funniest shit. And everyone,
Yeah.
dude, everyone was like screaming and shit, but they were all so mad. They're not mad. They're all like disappointed after. They're like, dude,
Disappointed.
fuck,
Mhm.
bro. Because like obviously the next fight and shit, he like retired, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
thought, dude, yeah, but like I don't know. I always remember the first event that I've watched, like starting consistently, and like,
Mhm.
dude, 239 will always be like one up there, just because not even just that fight itself, like, bro, John Jones fought and like and I'm not even like I'm John Jones is not even my top 5 favorite fighter. I just think, he main evented. Man, Nunes went against like Holly Holm and shit. And it's like
Yeah. That's
crazy
true.
shit,
Wow.
bro. Absolute
That's
crazy.
true.
But obviously since you have your like a lot of passion in UFC and everything, right? You
Yeah.
also have made content around it too. And like what's the journey you've been through making content? Because obviously 30,000 on TikTok, you know what I mean? There is some bit of, hard work that you have to consistently upload and shit, right? So like what's the
Definitely.
journey, obviously with social media that, you're starting to rise up a little bit.
Yeah, so with TikTok, it was actually like around
Mhm.
2019-ish, 20 when I was still in high school. I would actually make content like just like kind of IRL stuff, the goofy stuff
Okay.
with my friends and stuff, and that got some traction. I got about 15K followers. Like I was doing well.
Hmm.
And then I was like, this is kind of like not really. It's not like it's me, but it's like something's missing. I want to be a part of like a community. And I always been, like I said, I kind of been passionate around that 2018, 2019 mark about UFC. So it
Yeah.
was like, I gotta make some kind of switch if I want to like actually just post about things I genuinely like. So I was like, maybe around, I did take a break from TikTok. I'll be real, just for like
Yeah.
life kind of things. So around
Fair. Hmm.
2020, when COVID kind of hit, I kind of stepped away a little bit. And
Mm.
then 2021, I was like, I was more addicted to sports at the time, but I was like, let me start trying to post here and there. I post like monthly or something. 2022 three really, which is crazy because that's when every social media I kind of had, I started taking seriously.
Yeah.
2023, I started just posting around the summertime, and then for some reason the UFC community picked up on me quickly on TikTok first, I'd say, and then towards the end of summer on Twitter, same thing kind of happened. Like
Yeah.
just the UFC community, they'd be like, oh, some people like, oh, I know you from TikTok, and then like they'd follow my Twitter, and then it's weird now because Twitter I kept kind of growing a little bit faster, I'd say, just
Yeah.
off of like the following and stuff. And then like people will be like, oh, you have a TikTok. Oh, now so people from Twitter are coming to my TikTok, and then vice versa. So that helps a lot with growth. Like when you have two different platforms kind of saying the same thing, and they're like, oh, I know you from this one, and other people are like, I know you from this one. So they follow you, and this helps your yeah, it just helps your falling. So yeah, that's the journey's been weird, but honestly, the journey's
Mm-hmm.
only been like 6 months, like grinding. I'll be real
Okay,
for
that's
that.
fair. You know what's crazy actually is like I think I don't know if it was like your first week in the like Misfits community or like in on Twitter in general, but that's when like
Mm-hmm.
I was on space with you and we were talking about Izzy and shit. I didn't even know
Yeah.
you like I didn't even know like because like I'm not on TikTok like I'm like actually barely on TikTok in general.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So like I actually knew you first on Twitter and then
That's
like
cool.
obviously after a few conversations you told me like oh yeah I did like A B and C and then I'm like oh
Mm-hmm.
shit you also upload on TikTok but
Mm-hmm.
yeah no I was like because like you talked about how like oh people on Twitter vice versa like find each
Yeah.
other right so yeah I kind of fall in that category of like I found you first on Twitter then
That's cool. I
see your
love it, man.
TikTok so it's
Love it.
crazy bro it's
I
absolutely
love it.
crazy but yeah man I and even you talked about growth a little bit about how like you especially grew in this last year, right? What's your like biggest advice when it comes to like, people who want to have like some type of growth, especially on
For
content?
sure.
What have
For
you
sure.
found so far? Yeah.
Well, like this gonna sound cliche, but like, bro, I'm telling you, just be yourself and be true to your opinions. That's like a big
Yeah.
one because your opinion initially people might like hate it. Trust me, like backing like liking Izzy is not a popular opinion. Like you will get
Not
people
right
on you
now.
like yeah, not right now at least. So at the start of Twitter, at first I was a big Izzy guy, but a lot of people didn't like him. People were like I don't really like this Kenny guy because he likes this fighter or likes that. But it was like I wasn't gonna like just fold and be like, you know what, let me just like whoever everyone
Mhm.
else likes. So being authentic to yourself and your beliefs is gonna take you farther. People might like dislike you or something, or like, oh, I don't like the fighter you support, so I don't really like you. But trust me, if you just stay true to yourself and don't change your values just because other people have different opinions, that's what's gonna help you grow the most because you're gonna
Mhm.
find that fan base and that support system. I don't like saying fan base. You're gonna find that support system who support you throughout anything, like anything,
Mhm.
and that's the best kind of support you need. Like people who genuinely like you for you. I have people who disagree with me on TikTok, but they're still like they're mods in my TikTok lives and stuff, and they're very nice people just because like they see me just being genuine to myself. So just be
Yeah.
yourself, bro. And consistency, I'm sure you know about this. Consistency, bro. You got
Oh,
to
for
keep
sure.
posting and making appearances, or people are just gonna
Mhm.
forget because people have short attention spans, man.
Oh no, for sure. No. And that's so facts. Honestly, if I were to go back to like my first short and like look at it now, I'm just like, dude, what the fuck did I just make? You get what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
consistency takes a fucking long way. I really agree with
definitely.
that. Who do you think is actually in your opinion like on the come up or rise in like in the MMA scene?
In the MMA like Twitter scene or
It
like
could
the
be,
MMA
Twitter,
scene.
TikTok, where like all around, all around.
MMA scene. There's a couple, bro. Um, well, I don't know what on the come up MMA. This is hard. Like I'm trying to think of all the names.
Yeah.
There's a couple people. There's Blooded. He's a UFC account. I've seen MMA
Hmm.
Uncensored. There's a lot of like MMA based accounts, like have MMA Bray MMA.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of good accounts. Yeah, there's a lot of great MMA accounts. You like something I like about your account is that you cover influencer and MMA, and that's gonna take you far because you have a lot of like just
More
you're well
flexibility.
versed. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're well
Yeah.
versed
Yeah.
in
Hmm.
both scenes. That's why you're gonna go. That's why I know you're gonna go like
I
quickly.
appreciate
That's
that.
why when
I
like you
appreciate that.
said like, oh, can I was like, oh, Jay, like of course, bro. Let's do it. Let's find a time, bro. Like when Jay Sports takes off, bro. Okay, what's up, bro?
Hmm.
But yeah, when you take off, bro, like this would be just a great starter thing that I could
Dude,
say I
I
had this
swear.
with Jay.
I dude, no, I mean honestly, like I swear when I say this, bro, like when I like got into like all this like content stuff, I didn't even like get into like I wasn't even thinking to myself like a year. This is literally a year ago. My first interview I literally have is like literally 2 days after a year. So
Really?
February 7th, 2023 is like the first like Misfits interviewer that I did, which is with Pulley. Shout out Pulley Arif. And literally I
That's a
would
W interview by the way.
yeah, no,
Clear.
Pulley's cool. He's a really nice guy.
Okay.
What is it called? See, I didn't expect myself to like get into the scene, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I fuck with this. But yeah, I mean, honestly, just so quickly for the people who like might be a content creator, this is low key like how I thought of this. I'm like, because not a lot of people know. I had a podcast where I did NBA, NFL, UFC, right? And I posted like over 100, bro. And by the way, horrible, absolutely dog shit episodes. I was so
Yeah.
fucking monotone and like I was by myself for the most part, so I can't really like rebound off of someone else and like have a conversation. So it's just me talking for 30 minutes about like, oh, NBA, then we'll go to UFC, then NFL. See, the thing
Mm,
is, they all didn't really mesh well. NBA and NFL, you can kind of make content around that. But then once we
definitely.
get into like combat sports and then NBA, NFL, it's gonna be a weird, exactly right.
Yeah.
So
Way too
I
much.
figured out early that I'm like, you know what? UFC and influencer boxing, they have similar fan bases a little
Yeah,
bit. I can just kind of
they do.
rebound off of that. You get what I mean? So I'm like,
Perfect.
shit, I can just cover both. Why not? You know, because like at the end of the day, like, and even on YouTube, like, dude, at the end of the day, I'm only like 400 subscribers. That's not that much at all. And so
But your consistency is gonna. I'm telling you, I
well,
know
no,
right
that's what
now
I'm
your
saying.
consistency
No,
is
no, no,
gonna.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like, I'm no matter what, I'm still gonna upload like every day, no matter what. You know what I mean? Because like,
perfect.
I just have to, or not have to. Like, I still like doing what I'm doing, but like, it's just like to me, I'm like, I have to do this. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So,
Exactly.
where I was gonna get into that? Yeah, I could try new stuff out. That's what I
Mhm.
was gonna get into. I can try new stuff out when like I have a small YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And just you know what I mean?
exactly.
Just trying to like new stuff out. So yeah, I mean, what were you? Well, sorry, hold on, because I was gonna get into something about what you were saying a little bit earlier. What was it like when you asked the question? What did you say without with UFC and like influencer boxing, a mix of both?
Oh, like I was just saying how like well versed with that. I was gonna say
Yes.
actually, I
Okay.
used to when I yeah, like you're
Mhm.
just really well versed in that. Like me,
Yeah.
I did start off as like a big influencer kind of like I had a when I made the MMA account it was more just MMA, but I was in both scenes, like like
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was at first I was all these Twitter spaces with the influencer guys and I was getting hyped for that. But then I ultimately like kind of chose like UFC just because I feel like I was a little bit more passionate about that. That's why I chose
Mhm.
that path. But you being
Yeah.
well versed in both definitely helps too. I was gonna
Oh
say
no,
that.
okay, so that's what I was gonna get into. Yeah. I just like it's honestly just a whole bunch of like tests and trials and shit. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you would even know too, even just through Twitter. I think a lot of people who watch like influencer boxing would either watch normal boxing, UFC, all that shit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So they'll get
literally.
in all that. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I was gonna get into eventually. I don't know why it took a long time for me to fucking explain
Don't worry
that.
about it, bro.
But it's good though. It's good. But okay, yeah. So you say MMA uncensored and all that. Who's someone that like even just last year I found who and I actually started like really enjoying. And he was on Twitter Spaces for a little bit, but then he I think just did Poppy
You're talking
Geo.
about Papi Gio. Oh, I knew you were gonna say that. Papi Gio. But think about Papi Gio, people didn't know even before he came. Like I knew who he was before Twitter. Like I seen in Twitter space. I like
Yeah,
every time I seen an impersonation on Instagram Reels, on TikTok, he's been going viral. I thought people knew about him, but I feel like once he joined the Twitter Spaces, people were like, "Who is this guy?" I'm like, "You guys don't know Papi Gio?" Like Wade Plam, even when he first seen him in
yeah.
the space, he was like, "Are you Papi Gio? Is this actually
I
Papi
was there
Gio?"
when that happened, bro. I was there when
Yeah,
that
you
happened.
were.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
So like, yeah, I wouldn't even say he's on the come. He's been on the come up for
Oh no,
years
he's
now,
yeah.
but he,
Hmm.
I will say, he is getting like notoriety. He did spark Alex Pereira like
No, that
what
was big, bro. Oh my fucking god,
crazy,
that
bro.
was nuts. Yeah,
He's living his best life, bro. He has
dude.
a little deal with Full Violence, which is a MMA account who's
Hmm.
also who sponsors Alex Pereira. So yeah, he's doing well in life, bro. Shout out
Dude,
Papi Gio for sure.
shout out Poppy. Yeah, no, he's the times that I've talked to him, he's been really nice and he's really funny too. Like
Funny guy, bro.
yeah, he's a really funny person. I was
He's
gonna
a
say though,
character,
yeah,
man.
he's someone that like I'm like he's now like I think since November he's been like a lot more people like even from
Yeah,
general have been starting to get to know him. But like yeah, I was gonna say that dude from like the like past year, I've even started to like get notice of him though. Much respect to Geo, dude. Seriously,
definitely.
my
Gio's a
goodness.
beast, bro.
But yeah, I want to get into, some of your UFC takes, right? One that we've been in disagreement with, and I don't want to spend too much time on this to be honest, because like we've had
Yeah,
it we've had a couple discussions on this when we were on Twitter. Is who is the greatest UFC fighter of all time?
Hmm.
I just want, and you're on the minority opinion. I understand that you're on the minority opinion with Khabib. I just want to ask, like, what are some pointers on why you think Khabib is the greatest, and kind of
Well,
express that
it's
perspective.
actually funny because
Yeah.
lately I've been actually swaying with the John Jones as a GOAT.
Really?
Just
Okay.
because, yes, just because he did do whatever he did steroids or whatever. He did
Yeah.
what he had to do, but like looking back at it, like skill for skill, he's just very impressive, and I feel like most people can't really match that. The argument I did have
Mhm.
with Habib though is like Habib is just a lot more like just dominant. Like I've seen John Jones in those close fights with Gustafsson and Santos and Reyes and just
Yeah.
like and I feel like Habib maybe had one with Tibiao, but other than that, Habib was just very, very dominant. And it's very one sided. Like he had one sided fights with like top five ranked guys like Gaethje, um, Connor, Poirier. He just seemed like he was steps ahead of them, and they were the top of the top. That's why I always kind of felt like Habib was like the guy. Like
Hmm.
that's why I
Okay,
thought.
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I just the only thing with Khabib, and like no, obviously like no disrespect and shit. I respect like any fucking fighter who gets in the ring. The only counter to Khabib's thing is his longevity. But that's
Yeah.
why I think Islam might be the one coming up, and
Oh,
he
definitely.
has a really good chance of getting into that discussion if he keeps it up. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if he makes a good like 10 fight title defense streak, he has an argument. You get what I mean? You know he's and because he's very well rounded at the end of the day. So
No,
you get
yeah,
what I
I
mean?
agree. The thing
Hmm.
about Islam, I agree. I agree 100% with you. I've said that same statement that you just said that like he
Hmm.
has the potential to be like he's just so well rounded. Like I seen him striking with some of the best strikers. I seen
Yeah.
him grappling with the best grapplers. Like he's just very good at every like a lot of like every department of fighting. Islam is just excels at. So I agree with
Hmm.
you 100% there. He could definitely be the future GOAT for sure.
Oh no, for sure. If he keeps it up and like being how dominant he is, he can for
Mm-hmm.
sure really like make a statement. Especially, I mean, hopefully later in his career he goes up to welterweight after he like wins the
Hope so.
lightweight. Oh my goodness, because think about it like this, like one thing with John, like especially I'm not saying back then because I'm not really 100% sure back then, but now
Mm-hmm.
with like the lightweight division being very stacked and the welterweight
Yeah.
division being very stacked, if and I'm not even like, and people might think I'm an Islam fan. I'm not like Islam Makhachev. I respect. I don't even
Yeah.
consider him as a top five favorite fighter of mine. But
Mm-hmm.
if he can clear out lightweight division and then goes up to welterweight and wins there too, it can change up. It can really change up. But
It could be.
yeah,
It would be crazy. Bro. I'll be
oh
real.
my, yeah.
Um,
Actually, you know what? I just thought of this. Sorry, I know I said I was getting into UFC takes. I just thought of one thing. Um, can I ask you? Oh, what is it about you? You're on Bilal Muhammad's like show or whatever, and you won the
yeah.
thing. Could you tell me what
Yeah.
happened with all of that? Like
Yeah.
what
So pretty much Bilal has a show every
yeah.
week, and and there was a reminder. I don't know if it was a DM or something, but someone put in like Bilal group. There's a Bilal group chat pretty much. Bilal Mafia. Shout out every Bilal fan. Bilal's in the group chat himself, yes, and he like pretty much like letting people know that he has a show and everything. We should all come on, stuff like that. He posted it on his actual tweet as well.
Oh, dope.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna just go on the show. It was literally a trivia show. Like just asked us questions, face matches with different fighters, things like that. And I was like, let me just go. Like this seems like I know I have decent UFC knowledge. Bilal's
Hmm.
saying people should join. I was like, I'm just join. Just screw it. Who cares? Let's see what happens. And
Yeah.
I didn't know it was for 200. So pretty much it was for $200. As in like there was a website called Young LA, and I have some of the clothing. Yo, the clothing there was great. Like I'm telling you right now, like oh my god, it had some good clothing, and he had $200 coupon from it.
Oh,
So I
okay.
was like, let me just see what happens. I'm gonna do it for fun. I ended up being the defending champion at the time, and now
Oh
I'm the
shit.
defending champion. So which is cool, but like yeah.
There you go.
So
Okay.
I won
Hmm.
that. I won the trivia. People on TikTok be calling me casual on every single TikTok live. Y'all can't call me a casual. I won the game show with UFC trivia, which
Yeah,
means
nah,
I'm not a casual.
he won on the Bilal Muhammad show, all right?
Exactly, bro.
No,
Won that two
crazy,
hundred
bro.
dollars, and I took it home, and I bought a lot of things with it. So shout out Bilal Muhammad. Bilal's one of those fighters actually who like talks to he DMs his fans. He's a good guy. Like I understand it's not whatever trend or something, or people don't like him for whatever reason. He's a good guy. Like people who actually interact with him and talk to him, they understand he's actually a good guy. and I hope he destroys Leon when it's time. I like Leon though, but I
Dude,
do hope he.
bro, that's gonna be a that's gonna I have a question around not exactly the Leon Bilal, but you'll see what I'm about to say. But like, yeah, I mean if that fight does happen, bro, that'll be fire. I don't know if
Right.
it'll happen UFC 300 or not, but we'll see. I do want to
Mhm.
get into one thing though, right? Just back to the UFC takes. I just thought of that for some reason.
Mhm.
Who in your opinion though is going to be on the come up in 2024 for UFC? Which fighter you think?
There's a couple. I'll say a couple.
Hmm.
First I'm gonna say Hamza. Like I think he's a very good middleweight. And I know he beat Usman, who's a welterweight who came up, but Usman's a tough fight for anybody.
Fair.
Hamza just has to work on his endurance, and I think he'll be a problem. In addition to that, I think um, Umar Nurmagomedov's going to be tough. I think Movsar Evloev is going to be good. Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to be a problem. Uh, yeah, there's a lot of good fighters on the come up. Yeah, even Bo Nickel, like people like, bro, middleweight specifically is very stacked. I've noticed that. Like that's going to be a really good division. So
Middleweight
that's we say
Middleweight has some people. So this is
that's
my
what I'm
thing, right?
saying. Like,
I think
bro,
so I won't consider middleweight like where I have and we've talked about it on Twitter like a lot, but like the where to rank weight divisions and everything.
yeah,
I don't have middleweight like in my top 3. However, I do have it like top 5.
yeah,
I think it's
bro.
there respectfully because I mean especially now that like, well, Israel Adesanya's not the champion currently. I
Mm-hmm,
do think it makes it more competitive with like all these fighters like switching in and out and just the possibilities who can be champion at the end of the day. And so
mm-hmm,
like that's why I think it's gotten a lot
bro.
more competitive recently.
The longevity in that division, bro. Like Ikram is still young, Bo Nickel's still young, Hamzat's fairly young as well. Like, bro,
Anthony
they're gonna,
Fluffy's on there too. Anthony Hernandez.
yeah, bro. That division, man. Like I'm saying, like they're gonna,
Hmm.
it's gonna. I'm excited for the next couple of years, even when Izzy's gone. Like I love Izzy, but bro,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people. There's a lot of young people who are gonna come up and like rule that
Oh,
division
for
probably.
sure.
So I'm excited, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, middleweight is for sure like a good division, dude. I won't lie. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you know what's crazy enough, right? I don't think they do middleweight, but they do have like fights in the welterweight division for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was gonna ask you just, obviously one of the more controversial topics in the MMA community is the whole PFL UFC thing, right? And I want to ask like, do you think PFL will be here long term and, can compete with the UFC, or you think it's going to be a phase for like let's say like 5 years and they're just gone
The
after
thing
that.
is with the PFL, like they're
Hmm.
never gonna compete with the UFC. They could try to compete with them, but like the bigger audience is in the UFC because there's just a lot of good fighters that just built around. Like
Yeah.
people think MMA is just UFC first. Like if you look up MMA on your
Hmm.
search bar, it's gonna just show UFC. But
Yeah.
PFL, they're great. They have some great fighters and great prospects. But even some, they're gonna start coming. They're gonna just start coming to UFC. I know Kayla Harrison is coming to the UFC.
Yeah.
MVP is coming to the UFC. Like even though they're like kind of like out of it a little bit, MVP is a little bit older now, but they're all getting to the UFC because they know where the money, not even the money's at, because technically UFC doesn't pay as well sometimes, but they just
Yeah.
know where the eyes are at essentially, and they know
Oh,
what's
for
better for their
sure.
career. So yeah,
Oh,
I
dude.
think
I
UFC
mean,
will
there's
grow.
there's a couple fighters. I mean, one on top of my head I can think of is Michael Chandler, who like kind of came later in his career to the UFC,
Sure,
and like,
sure.
I mean, a lot of people weren't too high, but then he had a title contention like off of his second fight. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about MVP's debut because because my freshman year I didn't even watch UFC my freshman year, and I remember seeing MVP highlights on my phone.
Bro,
Like, you get
he's
what I
so
mean?
good.
He's so entertaining to watch. Oh my
It's funny
goodness.
because even though I don't watch what was that Bellator, I don't
Bellator,
really
yeah.
watch. I don't really watch much of Bellator, but I watch every single one of MVP fights live just because I like him as a fighter. So like
No,
I would
dude,
just
he's
follow
sick to
him as a
watch.
fighter. I wouldn't really follow Bellator. He's so good.
No,
It's
he's so fun to
entertaining.
watch. I hope what is it? I know he has a tough first fight in Kevin Holland, but I
Yeah.
kind of if he wins it though, it makes the division so much more competitive. It's not
Yes,
even
it does.
funny.
Just
Oh my
fun too.
goodness.
Like
It's
yes,
not even
indeed.
funny. But yeah, I mean the whole PFL and UFC thing, I remember talking to someone about this. My thing with the whole like PFL is like I feel like the first couple years may be good because if Francis keeps doing what he's doing and like obviously
Mhm.
Jake Paul has shown interest in fighting into PFL and Serrano and all that, I think the first couple years will be great, but then where do you go after the first couple years?
I
You know
agree.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like I don't know, long term, I have some question marks. And the other thing is like PFL has to have some sort of advantage compared to the UFC, right?
Mhm.
Like for an example, you're not allowed to throw knees when you're on the ground. And that's just one of the rules in the UFC.
Yeah.
Like while you're on the ground, you can't hit them. You can't knee them in the ground or whatever, right?
Mhm.
In one championship, that is allowed. You
You
get what I
can't do
mean?
that.
So some
Yeah.
people, this is a minority opinion. Some people do like one championship because I'm a lot more lenient in rules. PFL, you're not allowed to elbow. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And the reason why you can't elbow in the PFL is because it's a tournament style and elbows usually lead to a lot of cuts.
Cuts.
So yeah, and
Mhm.
I mean it makes sense why, but then
Mhm.
it's like what
Takes away from
where's
the
the
barbaricness.
like you have to think like okay, if I want people to watch my product more than the UFC, right?
Yeah.
What's gonna be that like advantage that I have over the UFC where people are gonna persuade to watch my product? And
Exactly.
so I just don't see that with the PFL yet or now. Depends on what they do, obviously.
I
I just
I
don't
don't
see it right
see
now.
it. I don't.
So
Definitely like no elbows is crazy. I actually didn't know that.
yeah, no elbows. I could honestly let me double check because I swear to God, I remember reading there's
No, I think
no
I do
elbows.
recall now that you said it, I do recall something like that, but like I was like, oh my god, I forgot about that. No elbows is actually like that's gonna take away a lot of eyes. Just because even though it's kind of effed up, we like elbows. We like cuts.
Yeah. hmm
We like
No.
cuts and
Well,
stuff.
it's also just more like I don't I guess that there's like it keeps the PFL fighters more restricted. Where
That's
like
true.
UFC, it's like okay, there's more lenience and
Mm-hmm.
there's more lenience. I'm not saying it's the most lenient sport because there's others like one championship allows the knees and shit, and then like I don't know, you look at fucking bare knuckle, bro. Everyone's like fucking like bleeding and
Yeah. Oh
shit.
my god.
I but yeah, with the PFL though, like not allowing elbows and shit, it's like
Mm.
I don't know. It's interesting. Um, but I want to get into the next question, right? Obviously, in a couple months, UFC 300 is finally gonna happen, right? Obviously, the main event hasn't been announced yet, but
Yeah.
the biggest fight so far on it is Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje. Who do you have
Mm.
winning that fight?
Yeah. Man, I like Max Holloway. I do. Um, I don't know if Max Holloway is gonna be able to get it done at 155. I would like because Justin Gaethje is just such a violent fighter. Like
Okay.
the way Gaethje throws his leg kicks and like just so everything he throws is like 100% intent, like to hurt you. Like
hmm
his leg kicks are so heavy. His now he's switching it low and then going high. That's how he knocked out Dustin. He's just evolving and he's a good boxer. He has some good uppercuts. He's just gonna be a hard fight. I do think Max has the better boxing. I just feel like Max doesn't have too much sting on his punches. I don't think it's gonna rattle Justin that much. I think Justin gets it done. I prefer if Max wins, but I don't know, man. It's a hard fight. It's a hard fight for Max.
It is a tough fight. I was thinking about this like when it got announced, I was kind of going back and forth with myself, but the reason why I've decided to choose Max in this fight is because the two things. So the volume he throws is absolutely nuts. He like breaks records of how much punches he throws in a
True.
UFC fight, especially like in 5 round fights. I mean, look at the Cater one for an example, or like I think the Korean Zombie he had like the most in 1 round or whatever. I could be wrong. It was either the Korean Zombie or some other fight.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the volume, but it's also the accuracy that he lands.
He is
And
accurate, yeah.
I feel like, if and my thing with Justin is, recently he's been kind of cleaning it up a little bit. However, sometimes he'll do some stupid shit.
Always.
You
Not
know what I
sometimes, all the
mean?
time.
So
Yeah.
sometimes he'll do some stupid shit. If he does that stupid shit, Max will capitalize on it. 'Cause I think
Yeah,
Max is
for sure.
like what he's like a top to me. I think he's currently one of the best strikers in the UFC, and it's
Oh,
just like,
definitely.
oh no.
Definitely.
So like, yeah. So I mean, I just feel like with the volume and that like pressure that Max can go for against Justin Gaethje, it could
Mm-hmm.
really for sure like I think it can get him a decision win. I'm going Max by decision. I've been saying that for since the beginning. So
Fair enough. Time was
yeah,
telling it.
yeah.
Time was
Time will
telling
tell. Time will tell. To be fair, one thing about that fight too that I think is interesting. What is it called, dude? It's gonna be a fucking war, and I
It's
didn't
gonna
even
be
like,
violence. Like I know it is. I
dude.
know.
It's gonna be fucking nuts. I'm so that's actually like. That's my honestly. I don't care what the main event is right now. That's my like personal main event. Like it's like
Oh,
a
that's
people.
probably gonna be fight of the night, regardless of the main event. I'll be
Yeah.
real.
Oh, actually, this is what I was gonna say. Sorry, this is what I was actually about to say. He's also. I mean, I know he's had a fight in 155, but he doesn't have to
Mhm.
cut as much as well. If you
That's
think
true.
about it, he doesn't have
That's
to cut
true.
as much from like before. So I don't know. I think. He's an old, he's obviously a more like he's obviously got more rounds in and he's more like a experienced fighter now. I think
Yeah.
there's a chance he could go for it. But I want to go with one more prediction before I want to get to the last question.
Hmm.
299, obviously, right? Sean
Exactly.
O'Malley, Cheeto. What are you thinking right now?
A lot of people on my TikTok lives actually. This one's a hard one for me, but
Okay,
um,
sure.
I feel like O'Malley should objectively win. Like this is like because Cheeto didn't really deserve this. Cheeto got beat by Corey, and then Cheeto got the shot just because the history him and Sean O'Malley had. But I just think Cheeto starts very slow, and I feel like it might come back and hurt him in this fight specifically. And O'Malley's a really good striker. Like I'm trying to really figure out how good O'Malley really is. I know he's a good fighter. I watched the Yan fight back. Even if I think Yan won, he was keeping up with Yan. He's one of the greatest, one of the best boxers in general. So yeah,
Hmm.
O'Malley's good. I got O'Malley winning. Um, not by knockout though. I don't see him knocking out. Maybe by decision, unanimous. But yeah, he's gonna have to. We're gonna see how good he is in a fourth and fifth against
Yeah.
Cheeto for sure. Because Cheeto's
Hmm.
gonna bring in the fourth and fifth. I know that. So
Dude, it
yeah.
will be dude, that the Sean is a very interesting fight. I think if it especially goes into the championship rounds, it will see
Yeah.
how Sean will do, especially in those later rounds. I don't know. My gut is telling me Sean O'Malley. I can't
Mm-hmm.
doubt, bro, because I swear, and I think I know what I'm about to bring up. When Sterling and Sean O'Malley was fighting, we especially in like the
So
influence boxing
confident.
community, and when we were talking about UFC, we were both fucking saying Aljamain Sterling, like not even fucking close.
Yeah, I thought it was
And
gonna
what
be one.
what pisses me
Oh
off
my god,
and like, oh my goodness, I don't even know if you know this, but like so when I did my prediction video, right?
mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I have Sterling winning, but the one thing that he does, which pisses me off from time to time, is he'll have his hands down on the striking distance, and
Yeah,
he can catch Sean O'Malley can catch him if he puts his hands down.
yeah,
Little does it fucking happen, bro. Second round, he puts his hands down in striking distance, and Sean O'Malley just fucking catches him. And I'm
dude,
like, bro,
that was the most like. Oh, I don't know if
oh
you're
my
trying to like go for
god,
a takedown attempt. He just ran into like it was like, what are you doing, bro? Like I got me so annoyed. And once he got
dude.
caught, like even when he was trying to roll, I was like, it's like
I was like,
Omari's
dude,
gonna
when
win
he got
here.
caught, I'm like, no way, bro.
Dude, I was spinning like watching the fight, like trying to like
I was like,
move your head,
dude,
bro. It just wasn't working, bro. Like
it's
fuck.
not. I don't know. It's also nuts to think that it's nuts to think that both of those fighters can go down to that weight, like
I know.
135, and like it's
I
fucking
know.
crazy. Oh my
Especially
goodness,
Aljo.
but
Aljo be big out of camp. I'll be real.
dude, oh bro, I even can't wait till he fights Cater, bro.
Oh, it's gonna be. Oh, I can't wait too, bro. It's gonna be a good one.
That's gonna be a
Shit.
good one, dude. That's gonna be a good fight. But I want to get to one. Actually, I just thought of one. But I want to get into one question though. Especially with a lot of people who really do watch your content. Want to
Mhm.
ask for sure is like Israel Adesanya, right? What do you think the future is gonna make for him for the rest of his UFC career? What do you think is gonna happen
I
from
think
now
in
until he
this
retires?
until he retires. So I'd say he's gonna fight DDP either at 300 or a card in Africa
Fair.
or whatever. I think he beats DDP. He
Okay.
should. DDP's like standing blitz is very one dimensional. When he was fighting Sean, I'm pretty sure he threw a jab overhand about
Mm-hmm.
25 times in one round. Every time he's standing, he has that same blitz. Last time I seen someone with a
Yeah.
similar blitz like that was Robert Whitaker when he just kept jumping in on him, and then Izzy just caught him with the check hook because Izzy
Mm-hmm.
reads the same blitzes very easily. So I think he could catch DDP, beat him. After DDP though, it's gonna get really hard for Izzy, and I know this because then Hamza would probably be like due for a title shot or something, and then it's gonna be hard. My thing with Izzy is I think he should win the title, maybe go up and fight Pereira, try to beat him there, and then close it. That's a picture perfect. He beats DDP. All right. Asper is still holding the 205 title. They have their quadrilogy, and then they fight there, and the best man wins. And I think Izzy's gonna win. I do. I know 205 is gonna be hard for Izzy. I know he weighed
Dude.
199 when he fought Yan. He could barely make that weight. But if he takes time and actually helps his body get up in the weight, he'll be good. And I think he could beat Pereira at 205 and he could retire. And then, but he has nothing else to prove. If he becomes a 3-time middleweight champion, goes up in weight and becomes a light heavyweight champion by beating his rival, he's done it all. That's a storybook ending. Then he retires. That's it.
That
That's
dude,
it.
or what if he pulls a GSP? Like what if he pulls a GSP like after 4 years of just being gone? He'll be like, or if he has gone 4 years, he just comes back. All right, I'm fighting 205, beats the guy
Yeah,
205.
that
You
would
know,
be
dude,
nasty, bro.
that
I
would
would
be
love
crazy
that.
too. That would be crazy. But I know I said it was the last question, but I just thought of one.
Yeah.
Uh, for myself, I've actually been in like contemplation about who's the face of the UFC. Who in your opinion currently is the face of the UFC? Because I mean, I think especially now, not even just in the UFC, but in general for American sports, it's tough to decide who's the face of a sport right now.
Hmm.
Like NBA is one I can't even think of either, but like UFC, like since we're talking about UFC, who do you think is right
Yeah.
now the face of UFC?
UFC, honestly, when I feel like the face of the UFC, and it's gonna sound like I'm biased, I think it's between Israel Adesanya.
Okay.
Just because every topic is kind of around Izzy, even like
Mm-hmm.
even when Strickland's getting a lot of attention, they're bringing up Izzy. When Pereira's getting a lot of attention, it has to do with Izzy. Pay-per-view wise, Izzy. But like honestly, as of lately, like like Strickland has been like very like talked about and just in the main media for different reasons. Even when he lost, had the controversial loss to DDP, it was just like, oh, he's still the people's champ. I still love him. So like, yeah, Strickland's he's not the face, but he gets a lot of attention, whether it's negative or bad, whether it's him saying something about a community or something. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's the center of attention because he just says outlandish stuff. But I know UFC's trying to build up Sean O'Malley, but he's missing something for me to be like that guy. But
You
yeah,
know,
that's
I'm glad you brought Sean O'Malley because I did have Sean O'Malley for a little bit as a face of the UFC, but what
yeah,
I watched MMA's Guru, I watched MMA Guru's video, and I mean, I'll admit it when I'm wrong. Like
mm,
I'll admit if I'm wrong with something, I'll just say it. The one thing that MMA Guru saw that I'll admit where I'm wrong with, and like it is a little bit of a problem. It's like Sean O'Malley has, he has like the aura around him. He has like the what is it called? Like he's a very entertaining fighter.
yep.
The one thing that's lacking is the fucking mic, bro. The mic skills. That
It's
is the one.
horrible.
He's
Yeah,
very like he. I don't know if it's awkward. I don't know what it is. There's just something missing with that.
I mean,
And
it might be
like
the way he talks. Like I don't know. Like his press conference, I'm not like every time he says like a diss, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
it just didn't hit.
there's only one like one clip that really comes into mind where I'm like, if we can get this Sean O'Malley consistently, he'll be the face of the UFC. Is when he was going at Cody Garbrandt. That was like, all
Oh
right,
my god, yeah. It's the thing about that is like people. Cody's so quick tempered, so like he draws out a reaction from every time. So like it just looks better. But like, yeah, he was cooking. He was cooking Cody pretty bad.
No,
I
I
know.
was like, I was like, that was see stuff like if he gets more stuff like that, I think that would
Yeah,
for sure be like, I think he can for sure get up there. But I mean, as of right now, to be honest, dude, the Sean Strickland fucking fan base around him is nuts. During that
crazy.
fight week, I've never seen so much media attention around Sean Strickland in a long time. When even bro, even my brother who barely like watches the UFC or no, sorry, not my brother. One of my friends who doesn't even watch UFC. He called me and was like, "Dude, who's this Sean Strickland guy? Why am I
Yeah,
seeing him everywhere?" And I'm like, "Oh, this was honestly like everyone was trying to hide Sean Strickland in the MMA community because this dude is crazy."
literally outlandish,
Literally. And dude, and
bro.
even after the fight, like one of the closest title fights in recent memories, and people are saying it's robbery, it's
I
Strickland
know
robbery. I see it
they love that guy,
everywhere on
bro.
ESPN MMA,
I
ESPN,
know
and it's just, dude, it's everywhere, man. And
they
honestly, and
love
I
him,
and
bro.
I and I was gonna say, like, undisputably, if he would have won against DDP, he'd be the face of the UFC.
Oh
But
yeah,
even now,
definitely.
oh, undisputably, but like the only thing he's missing with that is the belt. But yeah,
Mhm.
honestly, I think he's my favorite as of right. No, like, not favorite fighter, as favorite in terms of like he for the face of the UFC. Like if I have to pick someone, it
That makes
might be
sense.
Strickland. Just
That's
because,
very
bro,
logical.
the media, dude, so many fucking fans just back him up and are so
Yeah,
like and no, but they're just fucking delusional if they think that
yeah,
like it's a robbery. You get what I mean?
yeah. It
It's
was
so
a close fight, bro. It was not a
so
robbery.
fucking close, dude. Oh man, yeah. I was glad that fight happened because, bro, that card was so dead, bro.
I
That
know. Oh
That
my
card was
goodness. So
so
that
dead.
co-main was horrible. The co-main just was the worst thing too.
Oh my goodness. No,
The
Raquel, but
Pennington
no.
and MB
Penny.
MSB.
Yeah, that was God. That was not great to watch. I was dreading this card. I'm like, bro, let me just get this over with, please. And
I
then
know.
yeah, but I'm happy though that 298, 299, 300 is going to be fucking stacked.
Gonna be back to
298,
back.
298 main card is fucking sick. Like,
It's stacked. I can't wait, bro. I
oh
can't
my
wait. I'm gonna
God.
do like
Whitaker
shit,
Costa, Henry Cejudo, Marab, Ian Gary, Jeff Neal, Anthony Fluffy's fighting on it, Anthony Hernandez. And then yeah,
bro.
and then main event is the fucking Volcanelia one, bro. It's
Yeah,
dude, it's a great card. It's a really great
I'm
card.
hyped for that. I'm
Dude,
hyped for
it's
that card.
next
It's gonna
week,
be a good
bro.
week.
Holy shit. But
Good
anyways,
weekend.
hey, we're gonna wrap it up here, right? I wanna
Sure.
obviously, for people who are new watching this, interview, where could people find you?
Brother, you can find me on Twitter, truthful UFC fan,
Hmm.
or you can find me on TikTok, Kenny underscore Okoye. And those, oh, you can even find me on YouTube too. The name is
Yeah,
the Kenny Okoye. Yeah, I'm gonna start posting more on there. There's gonna be prediction video for Volkanovski coming out next this weekend, this upcoming week. And yeah, bro, J Sports takes the goat, bro. Thanks for having me
appreciate
on
it.
here, bro.
Appreciate it.
Love,
Yeah,
bro,
no.
love.
Hopefully, I'm gonna try getting. Hopefully, I'll try getting this interview. I don't think I'm gonna get it out next week, but anytime
Mm,
after that, hopefully, I'll try getting it. But yeah, but
sure.
for anyone who's still tuned into this interview, if you guys want more, interviews like this, please subscribe for more content. End of the year goal is still 1,000 subscribers. Sorry, to Yeti Gang who's watching this. I'm sorry. I know the goal is still 1,000. You're making fun of me for that, but small goals at a time, man. Increment goals. All right. It's still 1,000 subscribers. But
Yeah.
anyways, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace. All right. Over.